Hello and welcome back. Northstar with another pop-up dungeon let's play. I'm doing endless run. Trying to get to floor 30 for the achievement at least. Get some gold for better charms. It'd be nice before I return the wizard's tower. I don't really need it. It does prevent me from having to turn on it difficultly. It's weird. That almost looks like water there. I thought there was water in my screen. I'm like, God, I hope not. No, it's marring the table. This is different. So anytime you reload and you haven't started a level, there's a chance it can change. But I think it was Apocalyptic Street before. Now it's Dungeon Sketch. Sketch. I don't think I've ever seen this level before, so it's unique, new. I don't know what enemy types will appear in it, or what this will even look like.
These elven eyes have seen much suffering.
It's just all the colors removed of a dungeon, pretty much. Interesting. Different though. I wonder where else this shows up, because they tend to reuse assets in this game, so it must show up in like one of the campaigns somewhere, or Wizard's Tower. I don't know. By the way, those who followed before, those you followed this series before, I talked about how I talked to someone. Hold on, let me see what spawns here. Dating app, talked to him, someone I thought very special. Told them about my long COVID, they said they didn't care. Well, yes, this person said they didn't care. But then he was kind of not super responsive for a couple days. I mean, regardless of what the gap is in these videos, that I'm sure you guys know, sometimes I record in spurts and then I just release them every 3 days with certain playlists, 2 days with others. Sometimes I start a playlist at 2, then switch to 3, but there's a buffer here. But so I don't think as much time has passed as between the videos here, if you're wondering. But yeah, a couple days, I think it was. So replies, and the person's like, "Oh, no, I don't think we're compatible because this person is in their mid-30s, and I want to sell that and have kids soon." And where you are with the long COVID, not really compatible, that's like, yeah, that's the reason the majority of the people just ghost me or say not compatible. If I get an answer or dig a little, it's usually that. It's not. Sometimes it's like bias and discrimination against disabled people, but a lot of time it's that, which of course led to my trying to explain. Have you considered thinking about adopting in the future? So many people want to have kids that are biologically their own, but this is, people are going to judge me for saying this, but
I do not seek glory. My wrath undoes the wicked.
Do try and bear with me with how this conversation went. Hold on, it's hard to multitask. Well, it's going to be hard regardless. So I tried to explain, look, that the world is careening towards a climate crisis and mass unemployment due to AI, and the experience of the pandemic has shown our society does not handle big shocks well. Like, I mean our society, but I don't mean just like the US. I mean like the neoliberal capitalist world. That, I mean, neoliberalism is the ideology to save the world. And for those who don't know, I'm not talking like left-wing politics. I'm talking neoliberalism is deregulation, cutting taxes, cutting welfare systems. It's essentially conservatism in a lot of ways, but not necessarily with, in fact, neoliberalism technically would not be racist and stuff, but it often is, in fact, and gets tied up with conservatism. So, yeah, political scientists know what the term means. The rest of you are probably, what's neoliberalism? Or that's made up. No, it's a real thing. And it is the ideology of the United States. Effectively, both the Democrats and Republicans are neoliberal parties, and the vast majority of the world at this point is capitalist and neoliberal capitalist specifically. Used to be like Keynesian economics.
I will fear no
not
evil.
anymore.
We are pilgrims in an
Anyways.
unholy land.
And so I mean effectively like the West, but also all the countries that are under the thumb of the West, you know, African stuff. The world didn't handle COVID well is the point. And it's not going to handle the coming climate catastrophe well. It's not going to handle massive employment due to AI well. I mean, it's not like there's not going to be any jobs necessarily, but there's going to be a lot of jobs that come obsolete and a huge number of people who suddenly need retraining. And our society is probably just going to let hundreds of millions of people die. Not even like with welfare systems getting cut, there probably won't even be like food stamps by the time that happens. People are just going to starve to death because a robot, an AI, something replaced their job. Not really robots, AIs, you know. A lot of office workers and self-driving cars, and they're not going to get the help they need, and a lot of people are going to die homeless or starving or whatever before our society works it out.
No, any good recipes? The darkness will not rise.
And you know how we handled the pandemic is pretty clear proof of how we'll handle things like that. And climate catastrophes may be way worse, regardless of how we do AI. There's going to be droughts. There's going to be flooding. There's going to be hurricanes more and more, and the global food production is going to plummet. And suddenly, right now, the Earth could feed about twice as many people as there are on Earth with current technology. That's going to fall to not being able to feed as many people who are already on Earth, and there's going to be mass starvations in the third world and migrations as people leave countries where there's not enough to eat. It's going to be bad. There's desertification, all these things, and we're not going to handle it well. So the world's going to be a sucky place, and people are going to be starving. If people choose to have kids, they add to the future overpopulation problem. The world is not overpopulated now, that's a myth, but it will be, because the carrying capacity, trained as a biologist, is going to fall. This happens, by the way, in nature. Well, most species will grow up to the carrying capacity environment. That is the maximum number of individuals could be sustained in a given climate. I mean, some species, like rodents, will overgrow it and their population crash, and people say, oh, that's humans who do it, but actually, most projections show humans are going to reach the carrying capacity and level out there, which is what most large mammals do in nature. So, okay. But when something happens that reduces the carrying capacity, you see mass die-offs. That happens, natural disaster on a small island or a change in climate. This happens all the time in nature. That's what's going to happen to humans. We're headed towards one of those mass die-offs due to climate change. Not everyone's going to die, but a lot of people are. And so the more people there are, the more die off. Even if someone has a kid and their kid doesn't starve, someone else's kid will starve because there's competition for limited food. So it's not ethical to have kids. I myself, when I saw how badly the pandemic was handled and knowing that this climate catastrophe was on its way, I realized probably not ethical for me to have kids ever. And that was before I got COVID, but while the pandemic was happening, because I got COVID twice, but during the pandemic, and later I got it when I was circling around again. But I got long COVID after my second infection, which I didn't get till more than a year into the pandemic, right before a vaccine was available for healthy individuals. It was already available for people with special health conditions in my area, to give you an idea of how close it came to make it to vaccine, which would have cut my risk of long COVID in half. You can still get long COVID if you're vaccinated and get a COVID infection, and you can still get COVID infection with the vaccine. It's just less likely to be symptomatic. Even asymptomatic infections can cause long COVID, so
only the darkness should fear the light.
Okay, talking rapidly, this is probably hard to follow. Try not to take too long with this. Two observers, the Raclette Rogue. Oh, that's a ton of bat power. These don't look like they do a ton of damage, but they actually do way more in behind and with that armor pen. Thought that there was something else the rocket could do. Okay, I just gotta take her out quickly.
Never
Hrothgar
turn your
doesn't
face from the cold.
have the mobility.
My wrath undoes the wicked. I do not seek glory.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh yeah, Ottoman can definitely reach if which should be further back.
There is a storm on the horizon.
This is
Long have I watched man.
probably have Ulrich stay in place and get buffed by James.
I'm
You know
not used to all this darkness.
way over here.
Where is my hat?
I will fear no evil.
There is a storm on the horizon.
Cruiser might move forward a little bit to where Hrothgar was and give Brock some AP. He's gonna have to stay still for at least one turn, just because he won't have enough. He can only attack the kobold. I might just kick the kobold into that corner. In which case, 1, 2.
Oh. There
This'll
are many
work.
lies, but only one truth.
My wrath undoes.
So I try to explain this. Very few people react well to you trying to explain to them that a dream they have, like being a mother of a child, you know, that they had, you know, in their womb, is probably not a good idea. I mean, this would be like the people who tried to tell me I shouldn't become a physician in the past, but they said that not out of goodwill. It was, oh, it's too much school, and when you ever, I mean, I did get screwed because I became disabled and I wasn't eligible for disability because I spent a lot of time in grad school, and the work I did in grad school did not count. But you know, that's a very niche case. It was actually probably was a good idea if not for the pandemic, and who could have predicted that. But yeah, I'm thinking of how I react. It takes a special kind of person to hear someone say, maybe you shouldn't do this, and actually take that well. But it's gotta try, because one, precious few people on this planet are going to need to take out the kobold and the rogue, because these things, actually, they're all pretty dangerous except the pag pad. Precious, because, yeah. What's the power level here? 3829. Why is my... This is gonna be really low damage. Let's see. I know it's gonna turn and face Hrothgar.
The light will guide.
There we go. Now if I could get behind... No, it's not that much more damage. Okay. I thought it said awful by... I mean, not awful. Oh, just poor bad defense minus 40. It's not actually that much damage difference. Alright, well, I don't want to blot the Ottoman.
Is righteous.
So, that'll work. So, you know, I can hope, but I doubt this person will listen. And there's two reasons. One, it'd be great to not be alone, but two, and you know, that wouldn't be, it's gonna be difficult and traumatic for a person to hear these things, so that wouldn't be enough reason. I'm not some asshole.
I bring the flame.
Two, what I said, I wasn't making that shit up. People are literally going to be starving to death by the hundreds of millions in the future. So, fewer people having kids could save lives. Now, I'm not saying this is going to happen tomorrow. It's probably going to happen when I'm an old man. This woman, she's an old lady. You don't know. you can tell from my username, I'm in my 30s. It's probably gonna happen when I'm in my 70s. But you have kids, you know, especially if she's rushing to have a biological kid of her own. Wouldn't be me because I want COVID, but you know, someone else. You have a kid, they're still around in 40 years. They're in their 40s then. They may even have kids of their own. And, you know, that's adding to the population problem, which is not currently an issue.
Who needs saving?
Unfortunately, a lot of the rhetoric about that is wrapped up in racism, and a lot of the people who are going to starve to death are unfortunately going to be in areas that have long been subjugated and oppressed because of racism, partly, like in Africa. But I'm not saying people in Africa should have fewer kids. I'm saying people in the first one, the rich countries, because those are the countries that are going to outcompete the rest of the world for food. I mean, it's obvious to people in those countries, and they're already discouraged from having kids. So saying that to someone in that country is not going to make a difference, because the people who can be convinced have already been convinced, and it's adding to a problem of systemic injustice. And those people in those countries have the smallest ecological footprint. It's Americans who have one of the largest ecological footprints on Earth. There's a few small oil emirates that have more, but
Eternal dawn, light the way.
yeah. So it might not be popular to say,
The elements do my bidding.
but you know, people in rich countries that consume these massive amount of resources need to have fewer kids, because it's not really a one-for-one trade-off. If there's one more person in the United States when this climate catastrophe happens, it's likely to consume enough resources in what's suddenly not going to be enough resources around, drive 6-8 people in the developing world to starve to death. It's not even a one-to-one trade-off. That's the really bad thing about it.
We are pilgrims in an unholy land.
Because to some degree, natural resources are fungible. When food becomes really limited, you can do things like, say, convert pasture into cropland, because animals produce far fewer calories per acre. General rule of biology is each time you go up a trophic level, you'll keep 10 to 20% of the energy. So meat has a much greater ecological impact. Americans are not going to want to give up their meat. You can do things like convert forests to farms, though that obviously has ecological impact. You can not do mining in areas that might impact agricultural productivity in the surrounding area because of the pollution from mining and such. I mean, there's also labor demands, you know, mining and forestry and all these things. They compete for labor that could be used on farms. Instead, there's ways to do more labor-intensive farming that produce more food. So it's not that Americans are going to eat 68 times more, but they definitely can drive massive resource consumption. So if there's anyone who's to be having fewer kids, it's us, Americans. I'm an American. Because you know what, I think I'm gonna need to hit the cobalt. I didn't realize it would do so little damage. 173.
Stay close.
It's not gonna be good at all.
Time for some explosive action.
Brock here is going to need to guard someone. Ulrich's closer, so I suspect he'll get targeted, and he's more durable than Hrothgar, so he might actually live if I do this. Hopefully he takes 6% of the damage, and we can't reach him when they taunt them. He just doesn't have the speed to more than that. But yeah, I can hope if I'm really lucky. This woman around my age will listen. Damage reflect? Oh, negative heal, negative damage reflect. That's right. Rogue has that, and since this thing has negative healing received, it gets an anti-heal, so it's like damage reflect. This is gonna get it mine the line at this point. If it goes this way, it might be able to avoid it. Nope. Dead. Oh well. This thing has poor flank power, so even turning the flank, the thing still died. Maybe if it turned its back, wouldn't have. Guess I should have went for the kobold. Why didn't I? I may have to redo some. I might lose. Mistakes made.
Thank the lizard, it's booze day. Which way? I'm all out of thorny puns. You look like good stuff.
This is a good ARP to
A little
use,
of this, a little of that.
so that she can drain youth if need be. If she dies. It's still on cooldown, but forget. I think it might when the turn rolls over. That would have to be a damage over time thing, though. That was probably useless. Oh well. Guess it does create a shorter path length, but that's about it. This fight's not gonna go well. I have a feeling. I want to face this way to make sure it's back to observer. Oh, they only have 3 movement. Oh well.
You should have expected this, Inquisition.
Nothing's gonna reach it. Could do Vehemence and then Rock might not survive this though either. I think James Zolan is like. No, the Observer can't move that far. The Kobold could kill Brock though. Oh bloody A, I'm just gonna do this to
Do you
James.
weigh more than a dog?
Cool. Could give atonement to the imp. It won't do damage reflex since it's actually doing damage to itself that way. It's the way around it. Yeah. I don't think it's a good idea. Nah, I'll give it a shot. I don't need
Fear
a
and
double
surprise
team
are
these
my
guys.
chief weapons. Repent, heathen.
Get out of the
The
line of
truth
fire of that
is
thing.
solitary.
Oh. Actually, I probably want to make this confess
This
to drain
ability only
AP.
works on enemies.
Cool, it's got no AP. It's not that dangerous. And
Warm your
there
hands by the
goes
fire.
Hrothgar, probably.
My soul is prepared.
I think if you rolled really high, might have survived.
I will know if you are fibbing.
Oh yeah, you can't. Maybe I wanted the quizzer closer enough. Oh well. Oops, daisy. I'm distracted with what I was saying, partly, but it's not the whole only reason. It's also cold here.
I'm not
When this
used to
is
all this
going up in like
darkness.
June or something, it won't be cold, but this is spring. It's been unusually cold weather and the heat's out, so family I live with suffers from poverty and come and screw me out of SSDI because time in grad school and working for the university while in grad school. Wait, didn't I give... This only lasts a turn. Shoot, I wasted AP on this before. James didn't do anything.
Eternal dawn, call upon your light.
Whoops.
There's a storm on the horizon.
Now we can do something. Power should make everything he does more effective. Probably just summon a phoenix, though.
At
Flame blade it.
risk, a little magic.
It's a cautious approach.
I still have faith in man.
Observers can really mess up my party as they go along. They can start buffs such as my shield.
A wizard is never late.
I want the whoops too.
I do not seek glory.
Surprised I didn't take down Ulrich, but he was being guarded, so some of the damage to him went to Brock here. He's got high defenses. Take down this kobold. Yes. This does more than Void Strike, since he survived before. 5% chance again. Part of the reason I used Spirit Strike before is because I know if he'd survive the next turn, having more health. This only does up to 77 damage itself. That was probably silly. And again, it's not a big damage difference either.
You're not gonna like
Damage
this.
dealt, that is. Mine the line of damage and strip buffs with the armor pens. I think he actually has so many, what's the potency of his shields? Oh yeah, it'll just get through, do more of the shield. As long as it doesn't attack more than once. Question is, why is this not very effective? Oh, because it's mundane. That's somewhat effective. So damage reflect or something's more dangerous. Of course, it also block the witch being able to reach candy corning. Sort of. Not really. Really? What? Why did that? Did it added spirit damage? What the heck?
No, any good recipes?
Why did that do? Line the line is always supposed to do. What just happened there? Why do you? I don't understand why he took that much damage. God. Well, I knew it was gonna be bad, but that. Shoot, that one-shotted rock. Oof. Hey, at least he can only do that once. So she can do this without even getting in the line. But
This brew makes for sweet ain't the lizard. It's booze day.
and it. Oh, that was the wrong belly. That's trick or treat. Oops.
No, no one will like you.
Whoopsie daisy. I'm making a lot of mistakes. Whatever. If I win in the end, it won't matter. Pat's prime. Let's get as far away as I can. I like to try and limit the ability of the pad to get closer this way. Of course, is that really going to matter? Oh. No. 40% chance of fear? Really? That's actually pretty good. Worth a try. Resisted. That could possibly get in the way of the observer. Porgan's magical. Maybe. Oh! This is way more effective than I expected.
The truth has its benefits.
Whoops. I meant to have someone else do that. now they're screwed. Victory's victory. The number of character deaths hurts me, but I can be reasonably sure of surviving now. Just to be sure. Pad doesn't move just a tiny distance and can still reach, but I'll have to move further in this direction. It's likely to go for the Inquisitor instead.
I have a few questions. I am no missionary. Where the spirit pulls, the body follows.
Since these things are weak against spirit, that'll make the skull belly more dangerous.
You will serve as an example.
Should have done that first
Still
before
maintaining your innocence.
using the belly. I think defense helps against totems. I mean against penance. I don't know.
Get your lies out now while you still can.
Oop. Here we go. And also, didn't mean I meant to put the Inquisitor for the 4. That was dumb. Oh, mistakes made, still won.
Gods, take note.
Men looking for this.
More character deaths than I should have had, but
More firepower.
victory is victory.
So this is the men looking for this. More
These are really
firepower.
upgrades, Brock. Whatever. Alright, one more battle, so I still have to find where that is. 38 minutes. I can get it done if I'm quick. But yeah, but I realize some people will, as I was saying, judge me for trying to convince someone that dream for the future is a bad idea. There are bad people out there who will just try and manipulate people's dreams for their own benefit, but I am honestly convinced. I had to take a long, hard look at my own ambitions, and I had the same dream myself, of having kids. When the pandemic started, even before I got on COVID, I decided probably not a good idea. Seeing what the future probably holds, the pandemic gave me a glimpse of, I think, what's kind of things are coming down the line. And yeah, I sincerely believe people should probably be
make this
not
quick.
be having kids, especially people in the wealthy countries right now.
Never turn your face from the cold.
And it's more than just people are going to be starving to death.
The elements do my bidding.
AI is going to, as I said, make a lot of people unemployed, and that's going to change the balance between supply and demand for labor. It's going to create less demand. There may still be other jobs, but they'll tend to pay less because the labor market will be more slack than it is. And as people say, "Oh, technology always makes things better," and they point out during the Industrial Revolution, machines that make everyone suddenly have a job. What they fail to realize is what automation and increases in productivity often do is they change the ratio between how much capital there is in society and how much demand there is for labor. Less demand for labor for a given amount of capital. But the Industrial Revolution had a massive increase, massive accumulation of capital, that is wealth. Society got a lot wealthier, and so that made up for
I will fear no evil.
that made up for the decrease in labor intensivity. But society has a lot more accumulated wealth in absolute terms now than it did before the Industrial Revolution. So even with similar increases in productivity, you're not going to see in a similar time period nearly as much of a percentage increase in the amount of wealth and capital and thus demand for labor. And we're hitting natural resource constraints, like certain things like rare earth metals we're already having trouble producing enough of on Earth.
The righteous have nothing to fear.
Which is to say the economy can't grow forever. And so part of the reason people didn't all end up out of work in the Industrial Revolution is because the economy grew a lot. But the AI revolution is going to be more of a GDP doesn't skyrocket as much. There'll be some increase in growth. It's going to be more of a GDP neutral increase in automation, which leads to unemployment and wages plummeting. But no, I said it's based on the amount of capital. So that if people are fewer kids, the amount of capital, the amount of wealth inside doesn't go down and ends up concentrating into a shrinking population, which means that all things being equal, a shrinking population with the same amount of capital, wages go up. So this can help counteract the whole AI thing and also lead to less problems there. AI will reduce the number of people that are needed to keep the economy going, that the economy can even employ.
These elven eyes have seen much suffering.
And well, if we had like a socialist system, we could do universal basic income. We could just have people work fewer hours. That's not what capitalism will do. It'll just try and have fewer workers while having them all still work like same 8-10 hour days, because overtime is a thing that they do currently, just fewer people, and just leave a lot of people unemployed instead of sharing the work equally, because there are things like training costs. It's more expensive to employ 2 people for 5 hours instead of 1 for 10. So therefore they'll go with the cheapest option, which will lead to mass unemployment. The business owners.
The darkness will not rise.
People got lucky once, since they assume that's going to happen every time. Just because Industrial Revolution
There's a
didn't
storm on the horizon.
lead to mass unemployment doesn't
I
mean that
have a few
there's no
questions.
such thing as technological unemployment. The conditions are different this time around. Nobody in their right mind would say the conditions are the same as before the Industrial Revolution. Things are very different now. And that leads to different outcomes. Different conditions, different outcomes. Different input, different output. People choose not to believe this out of a reckless optimism for the future, but
Effort is the magic of man.
we've already seen wages not go up in the United States. Even the productivity has gone up since about 1971. Now there's reasons in terms of restructuring of the global economy, the end of the Bretton Woods system, globalization for that. But this is proof that there are situations in which the economy can grow, productivity can grow, and wages will not grow. That's already happened for the past 50 years. So if AI massively increases productivity, that doesn't mean wages go up. And very possibly, if the productivity goes up by enough, it'll cause wages to go down, because it'll technological unemployment. Anyways, it's less of a sure thing than
poison of choice.
climate change, but it
My
is
wrath
very
unbound.
likely.
Have you, my pretty?
Climate change is
Who needs saving?
undeniably going to be a problem.
I'm not used to all
So.
this darkness.
Alright, amphibian, bone dog, shellcaster. The kobold would be good to take down early. The bone dog can summon another bone dog, and it's really mobile. The witch can try and turn the kobold into a candy corn, and the Ottoman can try and deal with the bone dog. What the heck is Hrothgar doing so far forward then? Yeah, you can take some shots at the kobold before damage a little. So it'll take less damage over phone. Alright. Cool. Let's go.
I will fear no evil.
And so maybe I should have set this up off camera, since the recording's already getting long at 45 minutes and the fight's not nearly over. I'm tired. I've been up quite a long time. I'm just pushing out one more video here.
A divine favor.
Let's see. 71% Melody. You know, I expected different enemies in the dungeon sketch, but all it is just a color washed. I mean, it's a different surrounding. But it's, what is it? What's that saying? Same shit, different day? Something like that.
I bring the flame.
Ooh, what the heck? Why was I not thinking of that?
I sentence you to more life.
Should have probably just had him cut
Warm
the
your
pillar.
hands by the fire, friend.
Still trying to do this
I
though.
walk through the valley.
Absent-minded as I am, I'm still winning, I guess. All the advantages give myself
Alright,
don't hurt.
it's my turn now.
Might have to reduce the number of AI companions I get for the future and make fights faster and harder. Seems that the difficulty doesn't really increase much after 45, Ascension 45, which was unexpected. I really thought it would continue to increase, but it hasn't. Right. No. Just a rock. Power up and
That
wait
is
for enemies
my
to come
hand.
to him. I don't think anything's about to kill him.
Unwield the elements in your friend.
This amphibian does, well, damage over time. It's got armor pen, so as long as he doesn't, he actually only has water weakness if I do this mountain guard, so I don't like the forge mage, which I think has water weakness at all times, but this build one is more like, you know, earth, stone, mountains, forest, you know, there's water in nature, unlike in a forge, except to quench hot metal. Looking around for threats I may not have seen or noticed how dangerous an enemy was, kind of thing. Now the bone dog's a huge problem. And the kobold.
I
Good.
do not seek glory.
How about the observer?
I give you my heart.
Do this. The mobility will be useful next turn. The speed will be useful. We'll start getting AP.
Who needs saving?
A lot of powering up here.
Feel the light course through your mortal veins.
Power up and wait, basically. Looks like I can take down the amphibian as well. Well, maybe not, because of leapfrog. That's right. Whoops. Oh. Let's go here so the observer can't reach it. Wizard between Scully and anything that might attack it, or it gets a chance to do its thing. Yeah, go here. Might be able to go up this side later for flanking or whatever. Well, that is to reach the flank of an enemy. Oh no, flanking bosses. This is a Wildermyth.
Double, toil and trouble.
Some enemies have weak flank defense or bad defense like this, though. Corn. Position doesn't matter, I guess, for this.
Which way? Hell has no fury like a woman torn.
This thing's normal against water.
A little of this, a little of that.
Start weakening this so that future damage will do more overflow. Is anything that closes an orc enough that... Probably not.
Get into the spirit of things.
This could give some AP to James.
There are many lies, but only one truth.
It's a broad statement. It's true, but doesn't mean you have the truth, buddy.
In good faith, the truth has its benefits.
Well, this might tempt the observer.
Get your lies out now while you still can. You look like you'd burn well.
Why do I keep forgetting to do?
Repent, heathen.
Best first, then penance. Even makes sense. Like, doing penance first, I think they confessed.
I will know if you are fibbing.
Yep. Area of effect things do not care about detaunt.
Is but another trial.
Here we go. This one's gonna be a replay. Speed run.
Great. I'm all wet and he's vulnerable to air.
You're not gonna like this.
Brock, that is. Although, Jane can give him extra bubbly baptism to fix that. Or he could just deal with the Shimphibian. Take it right out. Is he trying to... Oh yeah. Does he have flame power? Yes, he does. Did I give him that? I forget. Let's also steal some defense nicely. Up. Why do I keep forgetting about the leapfrog thing? Ah. Let's just deal with the kobold while it's still transformed. So then Treant keep his back to the observer.
Effort is the magic of man.
Let's deal with the stupid shoutcaster. If he attacks it, and then where's Ulrich? Ulrich attacks it. The shoot Ulrich would get hit by the observer. That spacing is intentional, isn't it?
Every step could be a spell.
A divine favor.
Ow! Somebody check it out!
Cool. I don't have to worry about using lightning on Brock, who's got very low air defense right now. It says, great chance of reviving Hrothgar in one piece.
I still have faith.
My wrath undoes. I give you my hearth.
Some AP for him. Let's see. Oh, Holy Intervention's already been used up, but still be useful when his turn rolls around.
We are pilgrims in an unholy land.
It's Amphibian and Observer. If I remember correctly.
Our cause is true.
If you move
My path is righteous. I
Mind
bring
the Line
the
doesn't
flame.
work if you only move that one tile within the line, like that. Need to. It says begins moving, which implies you have to start on one of the tiles in that line, but I think it doesn't actually work quite that way. Still. think he can turn around. Yep. Without suffering. Which is good because this thing has awful back power.
These elven eyes have seen much
Doomed to
suffering.
face the observer tool.
Feel free to die. I'll resurrect you.
Enormous power to James. And crit chance. Swing at the amphibian, or wait for it to. Oh, we can't leapfrog anymore. And for third gear. No, it's just the observer. That went well. Better than I could have expected.
My poison of choice? Sugar.
98% chance this works.
Oh, my candy is organic! 5 cauldron bubble.
Organic is I'm assuming, made from enemies in this case. Great.
Think of all the little children.
Visitor makes a great trick-or-treat distributor.
Only the darkness should fear the light.
So much so.
The truth is solitary.
I'll go here in Bracco.
Fear and
It's best.
surprise are my chief weapon. You
Actually.
will serve as an example. You look like you burn well. Here is your affirmation. In good faith.
So there's a tiny chance of killing him, but there'd be no overflow. So maybe a bad idea. See these bees for now. As for this, 5 bees. Oh, they all go before the thing? Guess I should tree and bind the thing. Yeah, kill the bee, I don't care.
Put your faith in the light.
That was a waste, but irrelevant. have gone around to the front. Might have actually done some damage there. Just not the mobility for it. Oops. Doesn't have any AP. Let's transform.
Time for some explosive action.
Oh wait, he already has 20 AP. Okay. Don't need to trick or treat him. Boom. Massive overkill. Alright, well. Tired as heck. More than I realized when I started recording this,
knew I
but
could do it.
just barely.
So
made it.
this is the fat loot everyone was telling me about.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
I'd rather
this
have
is the fat
holy
loot
shield.
everyone was telling me about.
Oh yeah. 4 complete. No interactables. It's green, not red, so.
Did anyone get any paper cuts? Could you clean this off for me, please?
Hmm.
I humbly accept this gift.
This is Fan the Flames, not the magical sovereign ability I've done. Massively better in Fireball. Why am I not surprised?
An instrument for justice. I humbly accept this gift.
Man,
Knowledge is power. That's not bad either. Allow me.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
more firepower.
Rockstad's surprisingly easy before, so yeah, I'll give him the help.
Man, looking for this.
I'll keep it safe.
Sheems has just attack from distance, very little ability to maneuver around. Why did I get flame power to Brock? Probably because he's so durable when he gets up
I
close.
could use a new staff to lean upon.
I guess I'll continue. With that trend. Boss level, yeah. Bosses are every 10 levels. So, Ascension 49 boss. That'll be fun. That might be a total party whip if I'm not playing well, so I'm definitely not doing now. I don't even know if you get to try in endless runs. Probably do, but I'll have to beat the level, so have to be when I able. Anyways, I wish you all the best, viewers. Take care of each other. Be kind to yourselves. And may you always find a guiding star leading home. Until next time, best luck and adieu. And don't hate me for the things I said. I'm really just trying to. Feels like I'm talking to walls sometimes, trying to get to people, see what's coming. Anyways, best luck.